Today's lesson is called Robert Pattinson's Return to Mainstream Movies. Hello, everyone. I am Jeff.
And I am Roger, and today we're going to continue talking about our featured celebrity for the month of February, Robert Pattinson, and he has returned to mainstream movies. Now, last time, basically, we said he was famous for a while back in the noughts, is that you call that, the 2000s there, when he was in a Harry Potter movie and when he was in Twilight movies. But he got disillusioned by all the fame and decided to withdraw from the public eye and pursue some personal passions. But now he's back, so lots of people, of course, are very happy about that.
A lot of people are very happy that he is going to return to mainstream movies because, let's face it, he is a talented young man and the world is a better place because he is in it. Well, maybe I should amend that statement slightly. Mainstream movies will be better because he is in them. Anyways, folks, let's go ahead and get started on today's lesson. Robert Pattinson is back, and he is going to be in a slew of blockbusters. Yay for us!
As an A-list celebrity, Pattinson was in a position to take his pick of the biggest films in Hollywood. Instead, he left big-budget movies behind for several years, choosing to act in small, independent films headed by lesser-known directors.
大家好，第一部分我们看到片语 take one's pick 表示任某人挑选。例如 Brian said we could take our pick of the company cars to use this weekend. Brian 说我们可以任选这周末要用的公司车。
Okay, so let's take a look at the first paragraph in today's lesson. It begins by saying, as an A-list celebrity, or because he is an A-list celebrity, Pattinson was in a position to take his pick of the biggest films in Hollywood. He didn't have to take roles that were beneath him. He could have just said, nah, I don't want that one. What else have you got?
People were knocking down his door with offers. Yeah, sometimes actors, they have to take roles they don't want to take because otherwise they won't get work. They won't be working. Well, Pattinson, he's on the A-list. Everybody wanted him in their project. He could take his pick. Instead, though, remember, instead he kind of withdrew from the limelight and focused on some passion project. So instead, he left big budget movies behind for several years, choosing to act in small independent films headed by lesser known directors. So I don't need to be in a Twilight movie anymore. I don't need to be in a Harry Potter movie anymore. Those were great projects, great franchises. I probably made a lot of money working with these people and acting in these movies, and I could make a whole lot more money if I were to keep myself there in the mainstream and do what most A-list celebrities do. But instead, he thought, you know what? I'm going to take a step back and do what I want to do. I'm going to focus on small, independent films, usually headed by lesser-known directors. He wanted to make art.
Exactly. So they were led or headed by those directors who were not so famous. They were lesser known. Okay, that brings us to the end of the first part of our lesson for today. Let's move on now to the second part and continue to talk about Robert Pattinson's fabulous career.
Pattinson's roles in these films have showcased his range as an actor and demonstrated his dedication to his craft. For the 2017 film Good Time, Pattinson bleached his hair, grew out a beard, and put on a distinctive accent to play the lead character, a desperate criminal trying to free his brother from jail. He brought so much passion to the role that his performance received critical acclaim. This passion is similarly present in what is perhaps Pattinson's most celebrated piece of acting, his role in 2019's The Lighthouse, a psychological thriller in which he stars opposite Willem Dafoe. Both play men driven to madness by their shared isolation.
第二部分，我们看到动词 showcase 指展示、陈列，像是 An exhibition open to showcase works by local artists. 为了展示当地艺术家的作品，一场展览开幕了，或是 The jewelry store used artistic window displays as a way to showcase its newest products. 珠宝店利用艺术化的橱窗陈列来展现最新产品。另外，这个字也可以当名词，指展示、展示柜。举例来说 Diana's dinner table is a showcase of her cooking talents. Diana 晚餐餐桌展现了她的厨艺天赋。再来，我们看到单字 dedication， 这个字是名词，指专心致力、奉献，后面常接 to 加名词或动词 ing。例如 Helen shows her dedication to her music by practicing piano every day. Helen 每天练琴，展现对音乐的热爱。或是 Mother Teresa dedicated herself to helping the poor people in Calcutta. 德蕾莎修女致力于帮助加尔各答的穷人。接着我们看到动词 bleach， 指将点点点漂色，使褪色，像是 You will have to bleach the white shirt to get the stains out. 你得要漂白那件白衬衫才能将污点去除。或是 Heather fancied a new look, so she bleached her hair blonde. Heather 想要一个新造型，所以把头发漂成金色。再来，我们看到单字 celebrated， 这个字是形容词，意思是知名的。例如 A celebrated writer was invited to give a speech to the university students. 一位知名作家受邀向大学生演讲。另外，补充一个相关片语 be celebrated for 加名词或动词 ing 表示因点点点而著名，像是 The band is celebrated for their personal lyrics that touch on difficult topics. 该乐团以具个人风格涉及棘手议题的歌词而闻名。
All right, so Robert Pattinson was on top of the world. He had been in a Harry Potter movie. He was in the Twilight franchise. But you know what? He decided to take a step back. Nope, I don't want to take any more of these fancy roles in these mainstream big budget films. No, that's not for me right now. I'm taking a step back to work on some passion projects. Now, why did he do this? Well, I think he had a really good reason. I think he wanted to prove to other people that he was more than just a pretty face. He wanted to prove to other people that he actually had chops as an actor. Yes, Pattinson's roles in these films, these smaller films, have showcased his range as an actor and demonstrated his dedication to his craft, his art, his craft of acting.
Dedication. That means you are dedicated to it. You have promised yourself to work in that field and you're not going to quit. You're not going to give up. You take it seriously. You might be dedicated to your job. You want to do a good job. You're not doing it just for the money.
Anyways, for the 2017 film Good Time, Pattinson bleached his hair, grew out a beard, and put on a distinctive accent to play the lead character, a desperate criminal trying to free his brother from jail. Wow. Doesn't sound like a good time to me. It kind of sounds like a bad time, trying to get your brother out of jail. It's kind of a sad situation, but apparently he did have a good time when he was playing this particular role. And hey, he got to bleach his hair. That's pretty cool. When you bleach your hair, you use the chemical bleach to turn your hair blonde or almost white in color.
I thought about doing that myself before, but I understand that it will damage your hair if you do that, to turn your hair white. But he was willing to do that. He also grew a beard. I guess you could also say grew out a beard. He had a beard on his face, hair on his face, on his cheeks, his chin, and his upper lip area. And then he put on a distinctive accent to play the lead character. He's from London, so if he had to put on a Scottish accent or a New York accent or an Australian accent, that would have required a certain amount of talent.
Yes, if you are a good actor, sometimes you're going to have to play a role where your nationality in that role is different from your actual nationality. So yes, he's from London, so he speaks English like this. But let's say he has to play an American, he'll have to talk more like, well, like Roger and I, and it will have to be convincing. And you know what? He does do this convincingly because he is quite the actor. Anyways, he brought so much passion to the role that his performance received critical acclaim. Basically, critics watched this movie and they were skeptical about this guy, Robert Pattinson. Wasn't he the Twilight guy or the Harry Potter guy? Oh, this Robert Pattinson, I like him. The Robert Pattinson that I'm seeing in Good Time, he is a great actor. He's brought so much passion to this role. I'm starting to like him. Yes, critics were saying this type of stuff about him. There was all sorts of critical claim around him and his performance in this film.
And this passion is similarly present in what is perhaps Pattinson's most celebrated piece of acting, his role in 2019's The Lighthouse. And what was that? Well, it was a psychological thriller in which he stars opposite Willem Dafoe. Okay, he's a famous actor. He's kind of old now, but he's been in lots of famous movies there. So yes, if you want to see the passion that he has for acting, well, check out this movie called The Lighthouse, okay? And we're describing this movie as his most celebrated piece of acting. If something is celebrated, well, you could use that to describe a holiday, like a Chinese New Year is celebrated in Taiwan, usually in late January or early February. That's when it's celebrated. Or my birthday is celebrated in the summer, for example. But here, the word celebrated just means people have recognized his acting ability and they have given him great credit for his job there. So yes, it's a celebrated piece of acting. I guess you could say it's famous.
When people think about the great acting that Robert Pattinson has done throughout his career, usually they talk about The Lighthouse as that one role where people went, wow, this guy really can act. Sure, The Good Time was a great movie. It was critically acclaimed, but in The Lighthouse, wow, he stood toe-to-toe with Willem Dafoe, and you know what? He stood his ground. What a performance that was. By the way, this movie is a psychological thriller, okay? It has to do with goes on in the minds of the characters of this particular movie. Yes, psychological. Of or having to do with psychology, what's going on in your mind, the way you think and perceive the world and stuff like that. And both play men, or both of the actors in this movie play men that are driven to madness by their shared isolation. So is that a happy story? Not really, but boy, is the acting ever good in The Lighthouse. All right, folks, with that, it's time for us to take a short break, but don't go away. When we come back, we are going to finish up our article on Robert Pattinson.
Pattinson finally returned to mainstream film with a standout performance in Christopher Nolan's sci-fi thriller Tenet, and his most recent venture may be his biggest yet. He will play the lead role in The Batman, the latest in the Batman film franchise. A highly anticipated film, The Batman may cement Pattinson's reputation as one of the biggest actors in Hollywood.
第三部分我们看到名词 franchise 指特许经销权，像是 film or movie franchise 就表示由一部电影延伸的系列电影。 我们可以说I heard that the Avengers movies are those of the most profitable movie franchises by far. 我听说复仇者联盟是至今最卖座的系列电影之一。最后我们看到单字 anticipated， 这个字是形容词，意思是备受期待的。例如 The highly anticipated movie will be released in the summer. 这部备受期待的电影将在暑期上映。
Okay, the third paragraph today talks about things that Robert Pattinson has been doing recently. So, Pattinson finally returned to mainstream film with a standout performance in Christopher Nolan's sci-fi thriller Tenet. And his most recent venture may be his biggest yet. He will play the lead role in The Batman, the latest in the Batman film franchise. So, yes, he was doing some art house films there, acting in films, independent films headed by lesser-known directors like Good Time, and The Lighthouse. But he's going to come back and act in mainstream films. Okay, so he's returned to mainstream film with a standout performance in this movie Tenet. Okay, if it's a standout performance, that means it stands out. It's very noticeable, and it's probably the lead role, or at least one of the lead roles, and you're going to be very influenced by his performance when you leave the theater.
There you go. I saw this movie, by the way, Tenet. It was excellent. It was a little bit hard to follow in places, but it was a very good movie. And yes, Robert Pattinson did a fantastic job in it. But yes, his most recent venture may be his biggest yet. He is going to play Batman. By the way, this is a venture, an undertaking, something that he is going to do. This is an acting enterprise that he is going to be a part of. And this movie, The Batman, is the latest in the Batman film franchise. So far today and yesterday, we've mentioned many film franchises. The Twilight Saga, Harry Potter, Batman, the list goes on and on. The Avengers is another film franchise. Basically, it's a group of movies in this particular situation that focus on the same character or group of characters and what they do. And boy, have there ever been a lot of Batman movies. Gosh, there must be 9 or 10 of them by now.
And a highly anticipated film, The Batman, may cement Pattinson's reputation as one of the biggest actors in Hollywood. So it's greatly anticipated. People are waiting and they have great expectations for this movie. They are anticipating the movie. They're very excited about it and they can't wait for it to come out. It might cement his reputation. Cement here is a verb that just means it makes it solid and makes it difficult to break.
His reputation will be made. His name will be made. He might even get a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Who knows? But yes, The Batman. It is highly anticipated. I myself do want to see this particular movie. And you know what? I can't wait to see Pattinson play this particular role. I think he'll bring it a whole lot of depth. Okay, everyone, with that, today's lesson is now in the books, and it's time for you guys to hear from the Chinese teacher.
各位同学大家好，我是 Hanny。 我们来看今天的文法重点。今天的课文里面有出现几个复合形容词，像是 A-list、Big Budget、Lesser Known 以及 Sci-Fi。 我们就来介绍一些有包含名词或形容词的常见复合形容词组成方式。好，来看第一种，我们可以用名词连字号名词，像文中的 A-list 是用来描述极具人气的一线的 A 咖的，还有 Sci-Fi 则是结合 Science Fiction 而来，用来表达科幻的。像有时候我们也会听到 Name Brand 也是名词连字号名词，那这个用法是用来表达名牌的。好，第二个组成方式，我们一样名词连字号名词，可是第二个名词后面字尾加了 ed， 像 apple cheeked 表示脸像苹果一样红润的， freckle faced 表示满脸雀斑的。好，第三种组成方式是名词 连字号现在分词，也就是动词 ing， 像 problem solving 表示解决问题的， award winning 表示得奖的。那第四个结合方式是用名词连字号加上一个过去分词 pp， 像 man-made 可以形容是人工的人造的， self-absorbed 是指只关心自己的，只顾自身利益的。好，第五个组成方式是名词连字号形容词，像 world famous 是世界知名的， duty free 表示免税的。第六个组成方式是形容词连字号形容词，像我们文中的 lesser known， 它是 little known 的比较级，用来表示是较不知名的，较不为人知的。那么第七个组成方式，我们可以用形容词连字号名词，像文中的 big budget 表示大成本的，预算高的。还有第一天课文有用到 pop culture， 也是这一类，表示流行文化的。其他还有像 long term 长期的， part time 兼职的，也是属于这一类。好，第八个组成方式，我们可以用形容词连字号名词，可是这个名词后面加了 ed， 像 big-eyed 大眼睛的， short-haired 短发的， old-fashioned 过时的等等。第九个，我们可以用形容词连字号现在分词 VING， 像 good looking 好看的， foul smelling 恶臭难闻的。还有我们还可以用形容词连字号过去分词 PP， 像 clean shaven 梳洗干净的， ready made 现成的等等。其实有很多种，我们只是稍微整理一下包含形容词名词的这个复合形容词。好，再来看到课文第三部分提到 Pattinson 将演出最新的蝙蝠侠系列电影，那么文中是用到 a highly anticipated film 来描述它是一部受到高度期待的电影。那么 anticipated 就是形容备受期待的，它是来自动词 anticipate。 我们来补充它的字首字根。好， anti 这个字首它跟反对对抗没有关系哦，它其实是 ante 这个字首的变形，用来表达之前。好，那么字根 cip 表示接受拿取，那么字尾 ate 是动词字尾，合在一起 anticipate 就有那种比别人提早行动，事先取得的语义，那么后来引申出预期预料的意思。如果我们把字尾 ate 改成名词字尾 ation， 就可以变成名词 anticipation， 可以表达预期期待。好，那么以上是今天重点整理，我们来回顾今天单字吧。
Showcase. The art gallery showcases a number of artists who are becoming quite popular. Craft. It took the tailor many years to perfect her craft. Bleach. Emily regularly bleaches her shirts to make them cleaner and whiter. Accent. Although Chloe has lived in Italy for 30 years, she still has a German accent. Psychological. It is important to look after your psychological health as well as your physical health. Venture. Tom turned down the opportunity to invest in the business venture. Cement. The president's most recent visit cemented relations between the two countries.
Discussion Starter starts now!
Here's our discussion starter for today. The question is, what do you think of Robert Pattinson's decision to return to mainstream movies?
You know what? I think he might regret it because there are going to be a whole lot of limitations on what he's going to be able to do as an actor. A lot of these franchises, they don't take big chances. They want to keep making money. They've got a formula for doing so, and they aren't going to diverge from that all that much. So maybe this is a bad idea for Robert Pattinson because it could limit him creatively.
Well, I think it's a great decision because, well, passion projects are all fun and nice, and maybe you don't like to be famous for a while, but you can get used to it, and people go nuts for you, and you can make lots of money. Who doesn't want to do that?
Well, everyone, today's article has come to an end, and I sure hope you guys enjoyed reading and learning along with us. I am Jeff.
I am Roger.
See you next time.